Good evening, everyone. Parshas Chukas, Balak, Tafshin Pei Gimel. Difficult parsha. I'm going to take a very difficult subject. Got bli guzma, meaning without any enhancement. It took me years to answer the questions. And when I come, finalize an Inyan, I usually like to talk about it. Because then I have a whole grasp of that Inyan. It's been disastrous since we've started Sefer Bamidbar. Sefer Bamidbar is not an enjoyable. We have taken machloikes after machloikes, fight after fight, and we are really talking about the Dor Deya, like the Zohar says. There was no Dor bigger than this Dor, the Dor Moshe Rabbeinu. It's a very, hurtful story, the story of Moshe Rabbeinu, and he was so great that we call him the Roy Ne'eman, the trusted shepherd. Since Moshe Rabbeinu has taken Am Yisrael, he won't let them down until he brings them before Mashiach. In other words, even today, we have a Moshe Rabbeinu in every door. One sparkle of the Gadol Ador comes from Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu watch over his people. In today's Shiur, we got to start extremely easy because I want to put some context and bring you some midrashim around the what happened before that rock that Moshe Rabbeinu hit twice. And the whole context around it through many, many midrashim. And I don't know why it rebooted, but I hope now everyone sees me. So I'm going to bring some tremendous midrashim about the context, and then we're going to go really deep into the psukim, and you will see the fineness of what happened with the Sela. What was the machlokes? Such a hairbreadth difference between Moshe Rabbeinu and the Bnei Israel, and the Torah emphasize it as if it was like chas v'shalom to say that, but just to give an example, Korach and Adasoi. Like we haven't learned from last week. We haven't seen. Again, we're going for a machlokes. No. The Torah is teaching us in Bamidbar, you will see how it affects us and all our thought process every day with every possible human being, including your wife and husband, father and children, mother and children, children and parents, and so forth. Besides, you even go out, and every day we are challenged by this, of this Meriva, of the waters of the fight, and you will see how this affects a person tremendously. You can be a kli. We have worked through Bereshis that everybody should be a kli to receive the bracha, to receive the shefa from the malchus. Now, we are I don't know why I keep on rebooting. Did you lose me by any chance? Can someone open the microphone? Let me know. I don't know. Are you here? Is anyone here?
Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
But we
No,
can hear you.
you keep cutting out.
You cut out too much. Yeah, it's impossible to hear.
I
It
cut
just
up too
happened
much.
last week also. Yeah, even now as you're speaking, everything is choppy. Your
It
internet
tells
is
me
bad.
that my thing is unstable.
Your connection is unstable. Yeah.
Should I reconnect through a different one? Can you hear me
You
fine
have to
now?
strengthen your signal. We don't hear you even now. You're putting.
I'm cutting still. Can you guys keep on talking louder, please? I can't hear anything. Jaime, can you hear me?
Yes, you're cutting out.
I can
big
hear
time. Yeah, you're cutting out big time.
You're
Do
cutting
I cut
out.
up to you, Jaime?
Papa, look on the WhatsApp. Look on WhatsApp.
No, I don't have time to look on WhatsApp. Can you hear me, Jaime? Clear question.
Yes.
No, yes.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, please just let me know in case it start cutting off. I'm just gonna reboot and take a different restart the connection. So where was I? In every person at every moment in his life, he's challenged by this. And what does this do? We're gonna see at the end of the Shiur this. So you're gonna have the walls of the clay, but you're gonna have no bottom. The bottom is just open. So whatever we pour in there is just lost. This is the purpose of the teaching of the Torah in Meriba, in the waters of the fight. With this introduction, let's go into the pasuk. So, you know what? Let me give you the context so we don't lose. Let me give you the context according to the Midrash of Divrei Hayamim of Moshe Rabbeinu. What happens? Miriam passes away, this parsha. The well that supplied the water to the Bnei Yisrael, special waters, not regular waters. We have the upper waters and the lower waters. Lower waters, someone who's thirsty drinks, quenches his thirst. Upper waters, when he used to come up, the 12 Nesim used to gather around it, take the stick and put a line on the sand of the midbar all the way up to the Shevet. The geyser of the water will go all the way up to the sky, fall down, create a huge river. Again, this is not regular water.
Up.
Huh? So
you're cracking in and out.
This water, as soon as it used to touch the ground, it used to sprout trees with already fruits, matured fruits, herbs, flowers. The desert used to be like Gan Eden, looking like a Gan Eden. And everybody used to come and bring and take the stick and make a line to the tent. And the water would follow that stick without flooding anyone, and people would work or would go to each other on the water without effortlessly.
We can't hear you.
What? What? Stephen, what did you say?
We can't hear you.
You can hear me?
You're cutting up. We can't hear anything you said for the last minute or two.
It's choppy in and out.
Okay.
But it's impossible. Yeah. There's
Okay.
times when you're in the middle of saying
I'm going to
something.
cut off this connection. I'm going to start a new one. 1 second. I'm going to try to go on the internet first. Disconnect this one, and I'm going to reconnect to This one. Okay, can you hear me better here? Hello?
Yeah, we hear you now. Yes.
better.
Okay, so let's take it from where I left it. So when they used to come to a place where they used to camp, the bear of Miriam, which was basically a rock, a huge rock, used to roll by itself. Used to come next to the Ohel Moed. A geyser of water would come up all the way up to the skies. I told you the Nesim were gathered around, and with a stick make a line. The water would follow and create a tremendous river. Each person would take their stick, bring it to the tent. The water would follow there, small river, and people used to go by boat. And these water, as soon as it used to touch the ground, they would flourish the ground with tremendous trees, with matured fruits already, grass, herbs, flowers. It didn't look like a midbar, it looked like a Gan Eden. From there, the water used to go to the ocean, and Zvulun used to take their ships and go for business trips at that time. These waters, you can see, were special waters, but Miriam dies in this parsha. Since the Be'er was because of Miriam, the Be'er will disappear as soon as she dies. Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron are Kohen. Well, not Aaron because he's a Kohen Gadol, but Moshe Rabbeinu buries his sister, and they're sitting Shiva. They're holding the third day of the Shiva. All of a sudden, they see the Bnei Israel gathering. So Moshe tells Aaron, do you see what I see? He says, yes, it's the Bnei Israel. He says, no, do you see their face? They don't come here. So Aaron says, you know, they come to be Menachem Avelim. I said, no, look at their face. They have angry faces. They're not coming to be Menachem Avelim. They're coming to begrudge us again. So Moshe Rabbeinu, always trying to come, Beshalom says, tell them, did you come here to console us because of the loss of our sister? He says, why are you crying for the death of one person? Cry about the death of millions of people. Moshe Rabbeinu panicked. He says, what's happening? Is there Magefa in town that I'm not aware of? They says, no, but we haven't had water in 3 days. Since your sister passed away, the Be'er dried up, and actually it's not even its location. It went up on the mountain. Now we can't even recognize it. It's just like another rock. Moshe Rabbeinu and they came so angrily that Moshe and Aaron run into the Ohel Moed, and they closed themselves into the Ohel Moed. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, hi, Moshe and Aaron, what are you doing in the Ohel Moed? They say, we came here to hide because the Bnei Israel are very angry at us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe, it's the second time you badmouth my children. And the first time that I told you they wouldn't touch a hair of your head, they didn't. This time also, they're not going to touch you. You have nothing to worry. And then he orders them to go out, take the mate, take the stick, the rod with which, you know, they made so many nisim, so many miracles, and go to the rock, the rock. Which one is the rock? Do we know any rockas? Have we ever spoken in the Torah about a rock? No. So the rock, Chazal say, is Be'era Shel Miriam. Find the rock that used to give the water. And talk to the rock. And he will give water. That's essentially the context in which Moshe Rabbeinu finds himself right before the whole operation that's going to be following up. So now let's go to the psukim. So by Daber Hashem el Moshe le'imo, Hashem said to Moshe, Kach es hamate, take the mate. We can give a whole shiur on this. Is it mate Moshe? Is it mate Aaron? Is it mate ha'eloikim? Right? But is just like ha-mate, the mate. V'hakhelet es ha'eda, and gather the eda. What it means gather the eda, you'll see. Look at this. He repeats again. Ata, you, but you're just talking to him. Ve'aron achicha, and Aaron, your brother, he must be there. Even though he won't do nothing, he will be just like a spectator, but I need him to be there. So if Aaron doesn't do anything, why should he be there? We have to understand. V'dibatem el hasela, and you will speak to the sela. Can you speak to the wall? Will the wall hear you? Is that going to help anything? Why should you talk to this seller? Le'eneihem. Watch out. Don't turn your back. Make sure they can see that your mom is talking to the seller. Venosan meimar. At this point, when you're going to ask the seller to give its water, he will give his water. So now we see, where is the water coming from? Venosan meimar. He will give its water. Now look at the pasuk, contradict itself right away. Vehoitseisa lahem mayim min hasela, and you will take out for them water from the seller. Sorry, you just said if you talk to the seller, he will give you its water. Now you're telling me that no, Moshe Rabbeinu has to do some kind of action or hiji-biji in order to extract. So the seller doesn't want to give water, but Moshe has to take it out. Vishkisa esaida, and okay, and there will be to drink and their animals. That's the order. Look what Moshe Rabbeinu did. Vaikach Moshe samate midifnei Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu took the mate from before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, kasher tzivou, as he ordered him. Vayakhilu Moshe ve'Aharon es hakohal el pene hasala. Hashem said, "V'dibratem el hasela le'eneihem." You will. Do you know what is a hakel? First of all, because I should have given you an introduction here. You know what's a hakel? I can do the rest by heart. Hakel means a gathering. When they used to gather at least once a year, all the Bnei Israel. So the Bnei Israel were gathered, just to give you one of the time for you to understand, right before they came into Eretz Yisrael, they were all gathered in between the roads that were holding the Aron HaKodesh. There were 2.5 amos in between these two roads. And 3 million people were inside. You explain me how it's possible. When Bnei Yisrael used to go on Yom Kippur to the Beis HaMikdash, the Mishnah says in Avos that they were all, when they were standing, they were shoulder to shoulder, there was no room, but when they used to bend over, there was 4 amos for everyone. Where did that space come from? If when I'm standing, I'm shoulder to shoulder and there's no room on the ground, only for my feet, which are basically 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet, Now you're going to tell me that not only I'm going to have my whole length, so someone who's 6 foot, he will have 6 feet long. He's going to have 3-4 feet wide, plus 4 amos around him. 4 amos around him, meaning every side, 4 amos, meaning for 12 feet, 12. This is a tremendous space. So Hashem told, the Midrash explains, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, gather the Bnei Yisrael before the rock, as is everyone feels he is before the rock. So he sees you, him. In other words, only we know the 4 worlds, Beria, Atzilus, Beria, Yetzira, Asiya. In this world, we're working with space and time. However, in Yetzira, there's no space and time. The Ramchal used to write with 4 pens at the same time. You're going to tell me how it's possible to write? Yeah, you're right. When you prejudice yourself and you put yourself in Asiya and you try to explain things through your crooked mind, which is in the lowest world, yes, you won't understand, and I don't blame you, and I'm not going to answer you. However, once you know that in Olam HaYetzira, there is no Zman and no space, now you start understanding, oh, what's the concept? Forget about what's the concept at this point. Just understand that these 2 limitations that are the worlds created in Asiya don't exist. Automatically, 3 million people fitting in 2 amos, possible. The Pasuk says it. So here we have a request from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to put all the Bnei Yisrael before, talk to the Sela itself, and get me the water from within the Sela. Ve'otzei lahem mayim min ha-Sela, from the inside of the Sela. But Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't do that. What does Moshe Rabbeinu do? He gathers them in front of the Sela. You're gonna tell me, yeah, in this world, that's the only place you can be. We see people up front. We can see people, the inside of people in this world. So Moshe Rabbeinu indeed accomplished what HaKadosh Baruch Hu requested, no less and no more. So why is the Pasuk playing with words that I don't understand? Why is it, if that's the truth, it should be consistent all the time, all along, talking to me about Pnei HaSela, the face of the Sela, gathers them in front, in the Pnei, in the face of the Sela, if that's what you meant. But don't keep on changing, because then you're triggering, there's something going on here. Midrash says, Bnei Yisrael, some people started making fun. Moshe Rabbeinu, what are you looking for? Because Moshe and Aaron went up the mountain and they're looking for the Be'era Shel Miriam. The well of Miriam, that one that's already, not only in the Shiva, and you understand that the Be'era Shel Miriam was giving the brachas, you always use something that's already muchzak to send the bracha. You don't want to try something else. So they're looking for, he says, are you telling me that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot take out water from any rock? So Moshe Rabbeinu started getting ticked off by this kind of language, because we already spoke about Leitzanus, and we already spoke the downfall of Leitzanus, which is the worst one, where a person loses his soul. We spoke about the type of Gilgul he's having. It's not an enjoyable afterlife and not what's coming after for a long time until he can repair himself. And in many cases, a late someone who always using, you know, those funny guys, put it that way, those funny guys. We brought it from the Reshis Chachma that wrote Beshem the Mekubalim that he's not coming back in Chman in Tchias HaMeisim. They don't get up, these people. So Moshe Rabbeinu here Leitzanus, that what are you looking for? Oh, they said, you know what? You used to be a shepherd for Yisroel. So you're used to the desert because in Midian it was a desert. So you know which rock has water, and you're looking for a rock that has water, and it's going to spew water, and you're going to tell us it's a miracle from Hashem. Nah, we don't trust you. Let's break down the philosophy behind their words. Just a second. Let's go a little bit deeper in here. Moshe Rabbeinu knows the science of the rocks and which one contains water. Let me ask you something. When was the last time we've heard that someone found water in a rock? A rock is dry inside. Never been and never will be water in a rock. What kind of game are they playing? What kind of time are they coming to Moshe Rabbeinu? So what is HaKadosh Baruch Hu requesting from Moshe Rabbeinu? Bring me water. He will give water. It's water. It's water, the rock. But the rock has no water. The rock is dry. You know it and I know it. So how did Miriam, the bear, the rock of Miriam, we call the bear of Miriam, was spewing so much water? I'll come to explain everything. So we hear before a rock that never had water and never will have water, that's as dry as a dry potato and has no lachos. Actually, it's the opposite of water. Water is humid, fluid. A rock is hard, dry. How can these two things coexist? They're two opposites. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells you, get me water from the rock. Moshe Rabbeinu, we're going to go by Pashtus. I'm going to go a little bit deeper because there's so many details, so many machloiks between the Rishonim. I'm staying out of it right now. I'm just giving you a path to understand without bringing too much machloikes, because otherwise it will be bothersome this year rather than being enjoyable. So we before a rock that totally dry and this is its nature and hard, and we asking Moshe Rabbeinu to take from that rock something that's fluid, means the opposite of hard, and damp, opposite of dry. Do you understand that? But it's been like this in the desert since day one, since they walked in. How come we never asked that question? So just in order to give you a better synopsis here, why the Bnei Yisrael, and I'll explain you what was the whole machloikes between the real Bnei Yisrael. I'm not talking, so there were two kinds. They approached Moshe Rabbeinu, there were two kinds of people. Those making fun. So what happened to them, says the Midrash? When he hit first time the rock, there's a machloikes if it was blood coming out, or if it was drips of water. And Israel said to Moshe, you can, this is water for babies. This is not water for all the, for the whole camp, for all the Bnei Israel. It's impossible. So Moshe hit the second time. At that point, the water came rushing with anger, flushed all the Leitzanim and drowned them. That was their fate. Korech last week had a funny death. This week, we have the Leitzanim that come to Moshe Rabbeinu and they drown in the waters of the very rock of which they made fun. This is the end. Now you understand that a lot of details need to be explained here, what's going on behind all this. So let's start going on the road of explaining everything. We know always in explaining, it's good to take history because we have seen this parsha before. Sorry, it's not this one. It's this one. So just for you to know, to have a context about what I just said. So Moshe took the stick from before HaKadosh Baruch Hu as he was ordered. Vayakilu Moshe ve'anes. At this point, they gathered all the people el penei hasala, to the face of the sala. Remember where the gathering happened. You will understand things like unbelievable, always with the little games of the words. You're going to see what the pasuk hints here. Vayomer lahem, and he told them, Shimuna hamoirim, idiots, listen. Hamoirim is, there are two explanations, few explanations in the Midrash. It's either those who want to teach their masters, they think they know better, or it's tipshim, idiots. Hamin hasela haze. Do you think from this stela we are capable of noitzi lachem? We can take out water for you. Just parentheses. Avinu Hananel holds this is the chet because they say noitzi, we will. But it's not understandable because it says to Moshe Rabbeinu, you will. So every region, I'm not going to go into the machloiksis right now here. I had a whole parsha in order to explain them. So Vayarem Moshe Esyado, Moshe raised his arm, Vayaches HaSela, and he hit the Sela b'Mateu with his, before it was Mate. Kachesamate, now it's Mateu, his stick, not anymore the other stick. Pamayim, twice. Why twice? We're going to see the reason also. Vayetzu mayim rabim, a lot of water came out. This is at this point the Midrash said they drowned in order to drown those leitzanim, those funny guys. Vatesht ha'eda uveiram, and the Eda was able to drink as well as their animals. And now the wrath of Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes out. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe. Hashem says to Moshe ve'el Aaron, to Aaron, Yan lo he'emantem bi. You had no trust in me. Lehagdisheni, to sanctify me. Le'enei bnei Israel, to the eyes of the bnei Israel. You were supposed to make a miracle in a certain way. You didn't do it, so you did not sanctify me. Lachein, therefore, mida keneged mida. Lo yisaviu es hakahal hazeh el haaretz asher nosati lahem. Boom. The verdict. You're not entering Eretz Israel. You're dying in the Midbar. Heima me Meriva, these are the waters of the fight. Asher ravu b'nei Yisrael es Hashem, that Bnei Israel fought Hashem, vayikadesh bam, and he sanctified himself on them by showing, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, by showing that even Moshe ve'Aharon will die because of that chet. What he says in the pasuk, Ya'an, because lo he'emantem bi, you had no trust in me. In other words, had you had a trust with me, Moshe and Aaron were above the Malacham Abbas. They were above death. They raised themselves to a level that was before Adam Arishon. The only reason Moshe and Aaron died, Heima Meriva. Wow, what a loss. What happened there? So, right after they came out of Mitzrayim, we have the story in Chorev, Hineni oimed lefanecha sham al atzur. I will be standing there on top of the rock. So this time around, we're not calling the rock Sela, we're calling him Tzur. You have it, we say it every time in Rosh Chodesh, Atzur Hagam Agam Mayim. The rock that Agam is a little thing of water. I forgot how to call this. Anyway, Veikisa Batzur. This time you gotta hit the. No, don't talk to it. Hit it. Veyatsu mimenu mayim, and water will come out. Veshasa ha'am, and the people will be able to drink. Vayasken Moshe le'ene ziknei Israel. Moshe did that in front of the elders of the Bnei Israel. And then the pasuk ends up. I mean, the parsha ends up very interestingly. Vayikra, and he calls Shem Hamakim, the name of that place when this occurred. There was nothing wrong, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was ordered something and he did exactly that. Masa umeriva. Now you're talking about the Meriva, but Meriva, the first, what we're going to read in this parsha for which Moshe Rabbeinu will be punished, we're talking about the Sela. It happened in Kadesh. It's Midbar Tzin, not in Chorev. We're in two different places. But then the pasuk is going to call this occurrence, the first one, on the name of what's going to happen afterward. From there is a machloikes in the Rishonim between, so there are many Rishonim that learned that way, that basically there were not two. There were only one. There was only one episode with the Sela. And over there, I'm going to explain what happened is we just kind of since we're going to talk in Chorev about the man and the Mayim, is just the Torah is preparing us from what's going to happen later. This is the Dazakinim, the Bala Toisvois, the Toises learn like this, and they brought that the Bechor Shoyer explained like this also. But the Chizkuni says, no, it's impossible. Look in the Pasuk, it's two different locations. It's got nothing to do with one another. Really, can we have a machloikes like this? Is it possible that some Rishonim hold it was two episodes, and some Rishonim are going to hold it was one and the same episode? Come on, we're talking about the Torah here. I mean, you open the mefarshim on this parsha, you drown under the pressure of the water. It's so tremendous, the differences between the Ramban. The Ramban calls what the Rambam says, Hoisif Hevel alavolim. Where do you see the Rambam talk like this about someone like the Rambam? He takes apart Rashi, the Rambam. Rabbeinu Hananel comes with a pshat that you can pull your hair. And we know that Rabbeinu Hananel, we say everywhere in halacha, that the halacha is like him because divrei Kabbalah. Everything he received from up there. He was taught from up there. How can we have something we cannot have a path? Let me give you a path. Let's start practically with the end like this. You will already have the bottom and you will start understanding a lot more. According to the Rambam, he was angry and insulted the Bnei Israel. The Rambam also, on one point, Hamoirim, he called them idiots. And you're not allowed to insult the Bnei Israel. Let me show you something funny. We take Hamoirim equals 295. Equals, I'm going to spell out the word Elohim, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Yud, Mem. Okay, it's the dinim. With the koilel, mean we add 1 equals Sur. Our dear second, the rock, the first rock, this one. When we read the pasuk, we have the impression that the Bnei Israel were renegades here, which is not true. We can see that Bnei Israel come here with a taina. They're not telling Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm not talking about the Leitzanim. I'm talking about the real Jews. That the so Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to talk to the Selah, they said, please don't talk. Heat. Why? You will see why. Because they are attached to this. Now, what is Selah? If we are expounding the word Selah, Samech, Lamed, Ayin. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, take water, and this is a word from the Oyev Israel HaKadosh, tremendous word. I stuck to this word like crazy. It says, take water from the Selah. Okay, we said a Selah is the opposite of water. It's dry and hard. Exactly the opposite of so what do you mean take water from the Selah? Look at the godless. And I'm going to explain later. If you take the second letters, the inner letters, what do you have inside? You have Mayim. Yes. On the outside, the Selah looks dry and hard, but in its power, because the letters have a Kedusha, and they attach themselves through upper worlds, 2 upper worlds. And every letter, so Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, connect yourself to the Keser all the way up And with this, you will be able to get to the inner nature of the Sela, and from there show them that they're going to get water. This water is the water that used to come because of the schus of Miriam. How did we call the Sela at the time of Miriam? We called it Be'er, which equals 2 or 3, which equals Bane, Chaye, Mezoine, like the Lashon of the Chazal, children, life, and Parnasa. The 3 things that were in the Be'er. These waters were blessed. These were not waters from this lower world. These were the upper waters. You remember on Monday, HaKadosh Baruch Hu separated the waters, upper waters, lower waters. These were Mayim Elyonim. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu said you should bring down to the Bnei Israel. At this point, it doesn't exist the limitation on top. They don't exist, these limitations of being dry, hard, whatever. It all works with the letters. And those letters, they have Mayim inside. So he told them, but Moshe Rabbeinu put them El Penei HaSala. He saw that they were funny, you know, those funny guys. So he put them in the front. What are the frontal letters? Sela. He said, okay, you want to lower everything, the discussion to this world? Let it be to this world. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to hit twice. One time he's going to separate the front letters. The second time he's going to separate the back letters. And he's going to come out with Mayim. But these Mayim are not the same Mayim. These Mayim are from the lower waters. You want it that way? He hit once, the front letters took off. He hit a second time, and the second letters are all these really are the names of Hashem. All this is done. I mean, the power of the letters are all the names of Hashem. If you take the Be'er, and you take these 2 names, the name Ben and the name Kana, which is the mikveh. Oh, mikveh, mayim, whatever. Kana equals mikveh. But here you know that Ben is Yud K Vav K equals 52. That's what we call it, Ben, 52. And this is the last of the 4 names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If you remember the Shiur on the table, the one worth Behema, Ben equals Behema. It means it's in the Malchus, in the Shechina. This is the lowest. And opposite to it, you have exactly the same thing, but with Keye of Heihin, with Hei's Aleph, Hey, Yud, Hey. How many times did he hit the rock? It says. So Rabbeinu Bachye said it's hinted the chet of Moshe Rabbeinu in one word. He doesn't say what, but he says here. Look at this word, Pa'amayim. What will we find? Pei ayin mayim. Already interesting, right? Pei ayin with the kettle equals this, which equals, so in other words, this equals 240 plus the kettle is 241 equals mikveh mayim. What did he want to do? A pool of water. You guys want a pool of water? That's all you want about it? Very good. I'll give you a pool of water. And that's why he separated. Now it started making sense to you. This is exactly what happened. He started separating the letters and the water. So now you're not getting the Selah in full. You're not getting this. Because when you put them together, these waters benefit also from the letters around them. You are only getting a pool of water. I mean, it's valuable, especially in the desert, you know, and this mime, but that's all you're getting. Can we really think, if we think an instant, and the Midrash said Moshe Rabbeinu was very scared about insulting the Bnei Israel. Here, on this part, on this subject, how did we translate this word? Shimuna Hamoirim. The idiots. If that's not an insult, so what is it? What is Moshe Rabbeinu? It's impossible if the Midrash, which means the Tanoim HaKadoshim, tell us something here, we cannot find a blatant contradiction right on the same spot. It makes no sense. You can find a contradiction, you know, from somewhere else. You can bring your question. However, not from the same spot. It's impossible. So how can they tell me one thing and its opposite on the same? If I write here, Hamoirim, and I'm going to highlight you something. Okay. Let's take a color. What do you see here? Again, the same game. First, we see a word mayim, because we need water. We want water. And then, so if I would put it in the right order for Hebrew to understand, rave mayim. Le ravot in Hebrew means to quench. They want water to quench their thirst. Moshe Rabbeinu, Chas v'shalom, doesn't insult them. Moshe Rabbeinu just told them, please cheshbon what you're asking for. You're asking for water to quench your thirst, or you're asking blessed water that have much higher level besides quenching your thirst. Let me ask you something. Let's agree to a number. Bnei Israel were what, like 3 million people? Plus the Erev Ra, which were 3 times this, and some say 5 times this. We're talking about what, the same number of Jews that we have this day, 18 million people, somewhere there. The camp of the Bnei Israel was 3 mil by 3 mil, which is a little bit less than 3 kilometers, and a kilometer is 0.6 miles. So it was, okay, let's put it, let's say widely 2 miles by 2 miles. So 4 square miles is the camp of the Bnei Israel. 18 million people, Okay, we answered that question. We said before that, when you elevate yourself, there's no more requirement for space. There's no space in Olam HaYetzirah. Okay, I'm buying this. But there is a technical problem. Once you have 18 million people and you have bodily needs, the heck, what is that? The midbar turning into a big bathroom? How is it possible? I mean, come on. And if they stay there for a year, they have no sewer, so please give me an understanding, because we have the Torah is given to be understood. There is no question that cannot be asked. I would like to understand when they stayed 1 year in the same place and 18 million people need to relieve themselves daily. I mean, do you want to tell me the schmick that was going on there? Elamai, as the Zohar say, as the Midrash say, when they ate the man, there was no need to relieve themselves. Actually, they never did. Because during all that time in the midbar, they used to eat the man. Okay, fine, they don't have to read that way, but the drinking, neither. However, if you drink mayim tachtoinim, lower waters, the midbar will be a big cesspool. Yeah. Now you understand Moshe Rabbeinu explaining them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made the body. And knows every need of it. So once you give to the body mayim elyonim, the upper waters, and food, upper food, the body ingests it without rejecting anything. Once you give him lower food with lower waters, the body takes the vitamins and throws back the food. However, Bnei Israel got stubborn. What is the inyan behind all this? The inyan is HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, I would like to show you this visually so you will understand better. And we're going to start landing now, and you will understand very clearly. Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem calls, it's the same rock. We will see. I will answer that question in the Machlokes after that. But here the rock is called Sela, which equals 160. 160, I can write it like this. Mem, 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 mem. Does it remind you, if I would write Mayim in full, it's mem. Mem, Yud, Mem. You see here, there's a game in words. So basically, the Sela is missing a Yud. And boom. So Mayim, you see, equals 180. Why did I write like this? Equals 180. But here, we up to 160. What do I miss here to get there? 20. Exactly, Yud. Because here, I'm open. Okay, so what is water? Please explain me the source of water. What is water? We know life depends on water. Yes, but this is on the surface. In other words, the Torah is compared to water. The mikveh is also water, is metayr the body. Please stop with all this. Tell me what is the powers and the source of this water. If we take the name Ab, all right, just for you guys today, Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey, the upper one. Olam Atzilus. We take the second one in the Bina, Sag, Olam HaBeria. I should do this. It's going to be the same, only between the Vav, it's an Aleph. Ab just tells you it's 63. So Ab is 72, like Chesed. Sag is in the Bina. So it's Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. There he goes. Now we're going to Olam HaYetzira is Ma, the one in we learned it by the the table equals Adam, and it's written Yud Hey Vav Hey. That's what it is. That's what Miriam is. The three names together. What it means the three names together? I'm missing. Remember, we mentioned before that in the Be'er, it was in the Malchus at the lower part, because it's always the Malchus that provides, that is a Kli, gets all the Shefa from the upper spheres, and will provide to the bottom ones. Who are the bottoms one? Us. So we have the Shem Ben, the Shem Yud K Vav K, like this written. But this one is not mentioned in water, because it's not in the water. The Malchus is the Kli, the Be'er, is the vessel. What's inside? So the outer walls of the Be'er are this. Now, Kadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, I need you to connect me this Shem Ben, the Be'er, and pour the water inside from this name. The water is an expression of life. Which life? The life that comes from the names Ab, Sag, Ma. From the Olam HaYetzira, the Olam HaBeria, and the Olam HaAtzilus. That's what the emblematic water and the Mayim Elyonim are the names of Hashem. Now, Moshe Rabbeinu, because Miriam passed away, we need the Yud. And this Yud needs to be poured into the Be'er. This Mayim needs to be poured into the Be'er. Okay. I'm going to use those letters. So we have Mem, Yud, Mem, Yud, Meimav. I'm sorry. Yes. Meimav. It says in the pasuk here, we asked the question before, there's a direct contradiction. Venosan Meimav, and he will give its water, and vehoitseisa la'im mina sela, and you will take out water from the sela. So Moshe Rabbeinu was supposed to show them that even in something dry and something as hard as a rock, which is the opposite of water, once you go into the chachma of the letters, you can make it, even naturally has no water, you can make it pure water. Has nothing to do with nature. Letters are above nature. But now, okay, I understand, fine. So why it says venosan meimabi will give its water? So this is mem, and we have a yud. But here, its water is written mem, like this, mem, yud, vav, yud. If I'm taking the letter aleph and I'm looking at it, I have a yud on top, just for you to see it better. I'm gonna make it bigger. You have a yud on top, a yud at the bottom, and a vav. Yud, vav, yud equal aleph. Who is aleph? The keser. Ayin. Me'ayin yavoi ezri. Moshe Rabbeinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, if you want to bring water from this name, you have to go above them. This is Chochmah, this is Bina, and this is the 6 from Chesed all the way down to Yesod. This is the name. So here we have 9 midas. But themselves, they get their water from the Keser. And this is what it says, Venosan Meimor. Who he will give? The Keser will start trickling down the waters, and you, with this chokhmah that you have in the cellar, you will take out the water, you will receive the water in that container called the cellar. Because honestly, how big has a cellar to be in order, even if a cellar had water, in order to contain water enough to supply 18 million people? You're not going to find one rock in the world. Even if a mountain was a rock, it would not be enough for 3 days to get water for 18 million people. So you understand here that those waters that were coming to the Midbar were different waters. Moshe Rabbeinu, the bottom discussion is, and I'm going to finish on this. Yes, there was a disagreement. A disagreement of what? A disagreement in Avodas Hashem. We're very far away from the machlokes of Korach and everyone else. We're not fighting here for COVID, but what is the best for Bnei Israel in the future? If you elevate the Bnei Israel to where Adam Arishon used to be, and I don't have time to give you all the million gematrias proving the water goes through that, then you will see that the punishment of even the tiniest Avera will be punished as, it's going to be capital punishment. Because at that point, when you're in that level and closeness to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, every little Avera is tremendous. So Bnei Israel decided we want to remain with the Tzur, with the Midah of Tzur, which is the Malchus. We don't want to have to do with anything under higher than this. Why? Because down the line will come the last generation. And this generation will not be salvageable. Why? Because they're going to be loaded with Chataim. And at that point, they will not be able to come into Eretz Yisrael with the Mashiach. Moshe Rabbeinu hears that and accepts it. Moshe Rabbeinu knows. He wrote the Torah in Shamayim. He knows that he's not entering Eretz Yisrael. This whole thing is funny, right? We're starting this whole thing. You're not going to enter at Israel. You know what the Midrash says? He compares it to someone who wrote a get chas v'shalom for his wife. He doesn't know how to give it. He doesn't know what to do. So he tells her, serve me soup. And she serves him warm soup. He says, you know what? I'm tired of you. Here's you get. She said to him, what did I do wrong that you want to throw me out? She said, you served me warm soup. I said, but you're phony. Because this get was already written before you even enter the house. So you already have, my question is, you already had in mind to throw me out. So it's not because of the soup. The Torah was written 2,000 years before the world was created. And it was written in this Torah that Moshe won't enter at Israel. What kind of funny game we playing here? He's punished? He's not punished. Death came to the world because of Adam Arishon? No. We hang on him the responsibility, but it's written in the Torah Pashas Chukas, Adam kiyamus be'oihal, a person that will die in an oihal, before Adam Arishon was created. Death was created before the world was a world. Oh, we blame Adam Arishon. Great, you're right. We blame this chet on as being the reason why Moshe, but really it's much deeper than that. Moshe understood the Taina from the Bnei Israel. He accepted it to do it, but he didn't really agree to it because Moshe went on a very high level. He wanted to raise everyone all the way up to the Keser, but he saw that people were reluctant and he got a bit frustrated from it. He called them Hamoirim, which equals 301, Esh, fire. This is going to be my last thing to explain on, and you will understand beautifully how everything wraps up in that one word. One word. We spoke about it in Parshas Kisisa. If I take the word yes. Israel. I still haven't found any safer. Our Mekaven seems to be, Baruch Hashem, I have at least one vote is mine. We have Hamoirim equal 301. 301 equal these two letters. Esh. Moshe Rabbeinu called them fire. Remember how we explained that a Jew has to have fire in order to stay away from Amalek. Moshe Rabbeinu is going to hit the rock twice, Parmayim, and we said equals 240. So, sorry. So here we said equals 301 equals Hamoirim. Okay, I don't need to put more on this. What are the black letters amount to? 200, 230, 240. They were only discussing about which meter to hold. Sorry, I wrote twice. Oh, yeah. Control Z, Z, Z. Okay. Amalek. Moshe Rabbeinu, Bnei Israel were holding the midah of fire. They wanted to do the avodah through fire. Moshe Rabbeinu says, you're wrong. There was a split in the word Israel. On one hand, you had Eish. On the other hand, you had Resh Lamed Yud 240. This is what marks. Once you have this, Amalek comes in between. This is not, we see here that it's not a machlokes in terms of kina, kavod, anything. It's a simple disagreement. However, it was a nasty disagreement. It was not brought up in a constructive way. It was brought up in a destructive way. Then the word Israel is torn apart. That's what a machlokes is. That's why the one who initiates a machlokes says he burns in the Eish of Gehinnom. And the one who holds a machlokes falls in the hands of Amalek. Someone wants to fight with you, run away. Don't even try to get into it, run away. Because it tears apart this name of Israel. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. I hope I explained a few things on Meriva, but at least we know we've learned one thing. Leitzanus here, and we learned about a Meriva. It's not a machlokes, it's just a nasty disagreement. It's enough to create a dissociation of the name of Israel, which is a tremendous downfall. And we have to run from it. And otherwise, the Bnei Israel could be zoiche to Mayim Elyonim Bane Chayim Mezoine easily. We just have to have a bottom. We created a be'er. We need the bottom to the be'er so the bracha can stay into it.